All right. So, hi. Welcome to July 9th. This is our second call in July, right? Because Wednesday was, yeah, we were in July last week. I can't even think. Yeah, the 9th makes sense. 7 days in a week. Yeah. Okay. Putting that all together, guys. We're going slow today. Um, so let's celebrate some wins and then we will jump into a little bit of content for tonight and then anything that you guys would like to work on. I know Cheryl, you already put some stuff in there, so we will definitely chat about that. But Lisa, if you've got anything on your mind, let's talk about it. So win, Cheryl started another walking challenge. So is this number three?
Yeah,
All right, where is it? What's this one?
Yosemite National Park.
Nice. Is it about the same distance as the other ones or is it different?
Yes, but I bought a bundle
Oh,
that was like three different parks
yeah. Mm-hmm.
just because I figured it would be exciting to see the scenery with that and read about some of the landmarks.
Yeah.
But it is
Nice.
like it's kind of cool to think that, in a pretty short amount of time I moved 100, the equivalent of 100 miles.
Feels good, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
that is an accomplishment, you know?
yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. And you closed all three rings for a month. Did you get the little like
All right,
prize?
well, I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. I just looked back and I guess I missed one day.
Oh, one whole day?
I know, that was terrible. I was really
Forget it.
striving for that. And I was like, I just looked and I was like, wait a minute. I've been doing this every day. So for some reason, it didn't record exercise on one particular day.
It was the watch's fault.
I'm going to have to go with that because I'm pretty sure that I was mindfully trying to close every ring so I would have a whole month. Dang it.
Uh, maybe it was one of the days like you forgot to put your watch on or you took it off so it could recharge. Sometimes that happens to me, like my watch starts to die. And then I've got to charge it, but then I don't put it back on. So it's like I miss, you know? So we believe you. You closed all those rings, even if your Apple Watch doesn't say so.
I was like, I know that I've tried every day. I make sure, like, at the end of the day, if I'm missing just like 5 minutes of exercise, I literally do 5 minutes of yoga or mindful cool down so that I can get something in and call it a day.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So yeah, we believe you. I think you did wonderfully. Good job. Well done.
I
Well
am
done.
trying.
You are. I can tell.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, Lisa, you repaired your bird feeder. Oh, thank God, those birds are probably starving. And sorted a half dozen or so storage bins, boxes, and pared down to three bins. A lot of purging, sounds like.
A lot. Yeah. And it felt good.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Do you have a lot more to go? Is
I
this like
do.
an
Yeah.
ongoing project? Yeah. The
Yeah.
retirement project. Time
Hmm.
to go through my stuff I've never had time to do before.
Exactly. So some of that was from my, my office, my work office, and so it was just stuff that just I would you know how you keep like a notebook, meetings and stuff like that, and it felt so good to go and put it in the shredder and in the shredder.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like, I really do not need this stuff anymore. Was
Oh.
there any part of you that you feel like now you're kind of ready to do that? Like maybe last year you wouldn't have been quite ready?
I think it was more that I didn't feel like doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and even as hot as it is, so we have like fans in the garage, and so I'm trying to work early and or late and when it's not so hot. Um, so I had to stop because it just got too hot, doing that. But it just felt good. It was like, yeah. And there's some things that was like, okay, I need to keep this for a year before I can really shred, some
Mm-hmm.
of those kinds of things. And so that time has passed now, and I'm like, yeah, kind of celebrating that 1 year mark of retirement.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah,
Yay. Yay. It's so wonderful to get rid of stuff, honestly. I feel like at
yeah.
this stage of life, right? We spend a lot of our time accumulating things, and then you're like, I'm done. I'm over it. It's gotta go.
Lisa sent some mojo to me because I have field books from 1997.
Oh, I feel you. Yep. I had notebooks that dated back a long time. I had grade books that went back to like 1991. So-
Wow. And what do you think, like, why didn't you get rid of them before? Was it just kind of like out of sight, out of mind? Didn't even know it was there, deal with it later?
It was like I had a filing cabinet, and in one drawer of it I would just throw the grade book when it would get full and throw it in there. And so then, you know, when it was time to retire, you think there's not a lot in this office until you start packing it up.
Mm,
And, I should have started, months ahead of time going through the drawers and shredding stuff there. But I did it all in a weekend, and and so there's no time to do the shredding and stuff. So it all just
mhm,
goes in a box and we'll figure it out later,
mm.
so later is now. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So Cheryl, what are field books?
Oh, I I used to be an environmental consultant, and so when I was out in the field, I would have these little waterproof write in the rain notebooks that we would take for taking notes, whether it's geologic logs, drilling logs, remediation notes, whatever. Just
Yeah.
notes.
Okay. Just notes, but they were like weatherproof,
Yes, they're waterproof, weatherproof, write in the rain books. They're really
right? Did they work really
fantastic.
well?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And I still had my field clipboard, which I did gift to my son-in-law when he went into the field work. Because I was like,
Oh,
I don't need this anymore. Please take it. Because it was a really fantastical field notebook. It's a clipboard, but it's one of those big metal thick ones that you can open up and store stuff in. Oh
oh,
yeah.
really good one. Isn't that funny? How many stuff
Yes.
that we're like, it's a really good clip.
Yeah, it's like 24 years old at this
Like
point.
it's they don't make it like they used to.
No,
Nothing's gonna last
this is
like
not
that,
an
kid.
average clipboard. This is like really good clipboard.
Ah, I love it. I always felt that way in nursing, especially with pens.
Oh
They
yeah.
were a hot commodity, you know, and I would have pens that were just like the best pens, especially when we used to have to document by hand, like before we did online charting and stuff, you just really wanted a good pen. And so I had like a stash of like my favorite pen that just, my shift was terrible if I didn't have my good pen, it was just annoying. Yeah. Yeah. All the stuff that's important. Okay, awesome. So what I wanted to talk about spend a little bit of time on tonight. I know that we've been on and off talking about nutrition, but I just wanted to kind of jump back in to a little bit of the nutrition piece and talk about meal prepping. So I know it's come up. I know that we are fans of snackle boxes. Yay. Um, but this is one of those topics that I feel like is a thing that kind of gets in the way for people. We either feel like meal prep is just takes too long, it's too hard, it's too cumbersome, or you're not exactly sure like how to do it, how to make it helpful. And it kind of, I hear from a lot of my clients, like, I know I should meal prep, but I just don't do it. It's kind of one of those things that just gets in the way, feels really hard, feels really difficult, feels more complicated maybe than it is. So I just want to give you some simple tips that I find that works for me and for my clients. Okay. So the first thing is it doesn't have to take you hours to meal prep. Like, I think that there's probably because of social media, and you'll see somebody's like Sunday meal prep, right? And they've like prepped like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all week long, and they're in perfectly little cute little boxes, and they go in the refrigerator, and but also you're like, how the heck is going to take me 4 hours? Like, I don't want to spend my Sunday meal prepping for every meal, right? So then it's sort of like I'm not going to do anything because I'm overwhelmed, because that's the only way meal prepping can look, which isn't the truth. All right. What meal prepping can do for you is just save you a little bit of time and help to keep you on track. And when I think about meal prepping, it's not about spending hours in the kitchen or becoming like a master chef. It is about creating convenience and ease because we are a convenience society. And if the drive-through Chick-fil-A is faster than making dinner at home and you are hungry, it's easier to make the decision to go through the drive-through. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I don't go through the drive-through sometimes, but I want to take that convenience because that is a big, we have a lot of convenience foods around that aren't so good for us. And so if we can make our healthy options just a little bit more convenient, we're going to be more likely to choose them. Okay, so the first key is to have a very simple, balanced plan. But guess what? I gave that to you already. It's the formula. Okay, so when I look at it, like the way that I put this into practice for myself is I look at each component. So I know that I need a protein. I know that I need colors. I know that I need a healthy fat. And maybe I need a carbohydrate, depending on what the meal is. So that's where I start. I start with the components. And out of them, which ones would be helpful to prep in advance? Do I need to make sure that I have convenient protein around? And I always like to do things. I don't have like a meal prep day, but if we're having, let's say, chicken on a Monday night, but I know I want to have more chicken for later in the week, like maybe for a lunch or another dinner, I will cook it once, right? I'll just make extra. Like tonight we had tacos. So if I wanted extra ground meat, maybe I didn't want taco seasoning. While I'm making the taco meat, I would also ground some ground beef. I mean, brown some ground beef, right? Maybe not really season it, right, in any particular way, but then I've got a protein available. So that would be the extent of the meal prep that I would feel that I needed to do for protein. Do you see how that's so much different than I'm going to spend 4 hours on a Sunday creating all these meals, right? It's really more about having the components available because I might use that chicken or that ground beef in many different ways during the week. And I can kind of choose that later if I don't feel like I've got to have a complete meal together at that time. Okay. Then if I'm looking at colors, when I look at colors, what I like to do, especially this time of year, and I think everybody kind of lives in areas where we have access to nice, fresh produce. And so I challenge myself when I go to the grocery store to make sure that I'm at least choosing 3 or 4 different colors for that week. Because I don't know what's going to be there. I don't know what's going to look good. It might all look good. And then I just make sure that I'm not picking everything green, right? That I add some red, I add some purple, I add some yellow, like whatever looks really great. And again, just like I do with my protein, what I tell myself, and this seems to work really, really well, is if I'm getting vegetables ready for one thing, so I have the cutting board out, I'm washing stuff in the sink, I'm doing that whole thing, I try to do as much as possible. Instead of just doing maybe the carrots for that meal, I might also pull out cucumber and red peppers and what else do I normally? Red peppers. My brain just went blank. Zucchini, like something like that. I might pull out all of the things as much as I can. And if I've already got something out, if I'm already cleaning and chopping something, I'll just do a little bit extra so that I have it available. Okay. And then healthy fats, avocados now. Avocados are hit or miss, right? We got to wait until they're ripe. So that can be a little bit harder. Although, if I know that avocado is what I want to have, I will also sometimes just buy the individual serving sizes of holy guacamole that's just avocado, doesn't have anything else in it. I use that as a backup if I've got some fresh avocado, but I don't know if it's going to be ready. So I've got that. I've always got good quality salad dressings and marinades in my pantry. I've always got olive oil. I've always got avocado oil. I've always got some nuts. There's really no prep that I need to do for that. So if I've prepped a protein, I have prepped enough colors that can create a lot of different meals for me. Now, if you're somebody that feels like I'd really like to put a meal together in advance, like I'm kind of a component person because I like to have a little flexibility, right? To like not eat the same thing every day. That just works for me. If you are the type of person that you would rather have kind of those nice little boxes like ready to go, you can do that really, really easily. Just take the components and put it together for yourself and whatever that looks like. Is it a salad? Is it a bowl? Is it, just some chicken with some roasted vegetables, right? Like, and just portion them out. I think that, but the components, like that's what I find is like the sticking point. If we've got the components, and we just maximize our time when we're in the kitchen making a meal, that feels like in my life and for many people that I work with that is a very successful way to go about meal prepping that doesn't overwhelm. I also like if I'm going to be like cooking a lot or, chopping like longer than I thought, I definitely put on some music or a good podcast because
I
then like
tend to do well on the protein part. Like
mm-hmm,
I try to buy like the big family pack of chicken
mm-hmm,
breasts
yep,
and try to cook a bunch of that. And then if I cook it neutral enough, not too much seasoning, I can do it in a lot of different things. But
mm-hmm,
when I struggle with the veggies, so I find that if I overwhelm myself and buy too many fresh veggies, I'm too wasteful. So
oh yeah,
I tend to have more frozen veg that I can
great
just
too.
pull out. I don't know. I too like the component idea. I've really thought about the whole meal prepping thing, multiple ways to Sunday, and it's overwhelming for me. And I
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
and I don't feel like I have the refrigerator space for it, to be honest. Like prepping all that stuff. Like I watch all those Instagram people who make all those meal things for the week in little boxes. I'm like, where are you putting this in your fridge? Like what am I doing to my fridge that I don't have space
Nothing else
for?
can fit in there if that's all you have.
No, you can't. And I have other, people's needs in the house. So I was like,
Hmm.
this is not working. I don't know where they put it all.
Yeah. Well, and I found like I definitely went through a phase where like I did that, and then I found that a lot of food went to waste because by the time I was on like Thursday, I was like, I don't really want this again.
Right.
So that's why I like the components because then I can, if I get bored, I can mix it up a little bit, even just with the flavors, right? To be like, I'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of this, but it's not the exact same salad every day. Now, if I want the exact same salad every day, then I can have it. It's there, but I'm not locked into that being the only thing.
Yeah, like I took chicken one week and I did I like the tortilla wraps. So I did those,
Yeah.
a wrap with some of the chicken, and some, I think it was a chopped salad mix. But then another day I took some of that chopped salad mix, cut up more of the chicken, and I put a peanut sauce on it, like an Asian peanut sauce.
Yes. So I will say, like the sauces, the marinades, the salad dressings, like that for me is where the variety comes in because I can completely change the flavor profile of whatever I'm eating by using those strategically. And if you are really mindful and get ones that are olive oil or avocado oil based, then you're in the healthy fat world also. So it gives you the flavor and it gives you the healthy fats, the omega 3s that we need.
Not quite there yet, but we'll get
That's
there.
okay, but you'll get there. Yeah, you'll get there. It's just, or you start making your own. I mean, that's another thing to even think about, like prepping is like if you haven't found a salad dressing that you like, but you want to try making your own in the flavor, if you haven't found one that's like you like that's olive oil based, like you can also, they're pretty easy to make. That might be enough, something like that,
Yeah,
versus
I've
like,
I've done like olive oil and lime or lemon,
mm,
just
hmm,
like a light vinaigrette sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. It's awesome. They're so easy. I mean, I don't typically make my salad dressings. I have, but they are fairly easy to do. I'm just, it's just something I've chosen I don't need to do is make them from scratch, you know? So, but you definitely can. Any questions about meal prep? Was that like helpful? Just a little encouraging? Yeah, I just think we get overwhelmed and we get in our own way, and so we do nothing. But if you just think of ways to like, how can I make this more convenient? Convenient is the key, right? Because if you've got, let's say, sliced carrots in your fridge, you might be less likely to grab the potato chips. But if the carrots need to be washed and peeled and cut, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna pick up the potato chips. Let's just be honest. You're gonna get the potato chips. I would too. And I actually use, Cheryl, I use a lot of frozen stuff as well. And frozen has the exact same nutrients as fresh. So don't ever feel like you've got to do, I like to do fresh this time of year just because we've got farmers markets around and like I just find that fun and interesting. But if that's not for you and frozen works, great. I use frozen berries most of the time. I love fresh berries, but they go bad and if I don't get to them right away. And so if I go and get fresh berries, I make sure I eat them like the same day I get them. It's like really purposeful while I'm doing it, but I always have frozen berries around. So that's totally a valid thing to do. There's nothing. And that's your prep. You bought it. I have the frozen stuff. It's available to me. Yeah.
I have liked having the rice cauliflower. I know it's not everybody's jam, but I actually have enjoyed having that on hand because I felt like that was easy to shred up some of that chicken. Or the other thing I did do a large batch of like chicken meatballs and put
Yep.
them in the freezer. And kind of kept it kind of neutral flavor.
Mhm.
And I can throw an Asian sauce on it. I can throw Italian flavors at it and just cut them up and toss it in the pan with the cauliflower rice and maybe some other vegetables. I have found that like having some of those frozen vegetables has kind of been helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. I also like to do roasted veggies. So they're especially good when like the vegetables might be getting a little bit soft and like you're like, I gotta use it up. If you just roast a whole pan of them, they're good for a few more days and they're easy to add to something like that.
Hmm.
Just kind of throw them in. I even like to sometimes I'll do like a roasted veggie omelet in the morning if I've got leftover, right? Then I'll make like I got the eggs, I got some protein, I might add some meat to it as well, like if I've got stuff around, but I'll add the roasted veggies with some seasonings and that just kind of gives you a little bit of more nutritional benefit, right? Because you got more colors in there. So,
Well, if we're talking about food subject, just real
yeah.
quick,
Yes, of course.
maybe I'll change my request then.
We could
Uh,
do more than one. That's fine.
um, I am struggling with breakfast. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling with breakfast. Like
Okay.
I can't find anything that I can consistently go to for that's not carb filled for breakfast.
Okay. Were you doing smoothies? I feel like we talked about smoothies,
Yeah,
didn't
I
we?
do some smoothies here and
Okay.
there, yes, but it's not always does not always satisfy. I'm more of a savory person in the morning for breakfast,
Mm, okay.
so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
So
really
the
digging
the
that.
smoothies feel a little bit more sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you like for breakfast typically? Take out like what you should be eating. Tell me what you like to eat for breakfast.
Oh, I would love a bagel with cream
Bagel.
cheese and bacon
Uh,
or pork roll,
okay. All right.
ideally.
Um, what else?
That's about it.
That's about it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't eat eggs.
Okay. All right. That's that. Have you thought, so you don't eat any eggs?
I have I don't like scrambled fluffy eggs. I don't like
Okay.
fried eggs. I have tried eggs in multiple forms. I can somewhat tolerate quiches, like something that's firm and really cooked with lots of other content in it,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't taste so eggy, but I'm not a big egg fan.
Okay. Do you like cheese?
Oh, I love cheese.
Love cheese. And you like cottage cheese, right?
Yeah, I like cottage cheese.
Okay. Would you be willing to try something for me?
Sure.
Okay. Um, because this is something that I like to do for breakfast and I can do it and make it ahead and I like it. So, I like to do egg frittatas. So
Yeah, I
it's
have tried that.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like a quiche without the crust, right?
Hmm.
And what I like to do is I will add cottage cheese to it. So
Hmm.
like I'll do my egg mixture, but add cottage cheese. And so honestly, I mean, I like eggs. So I can't say like how it would taste for you, but I think if you get the egg to cottage cheese ratio right, like you'll get more of the cottage cheese flavor since that is a flavor you prefer. And the eggs and the consistency changes too. It's like a little bit creamier because the cottage cheese melts, right? So
Hmm.
you're not, creates like this really nice creamy consistency. And then in there, I will do as many whatever vegetables I like, and whatever spices I like. And it's super easy because then I just cook it in like a cast iron pan and then I just slice it. And so it's easy to reheat. It's so convenient. It doesn't, it's literally mixing stuff in a bowl and throwing it in, a pan and baking it for 30 minutes or something. Like super, super.
Yeah, so this is where meal prepping for breakfast is probably gonna be the struggle. Just like, you know, it's not
Yeah.
something you can grab and go. Like, although I have eaten a burrito for breakfast, a beef,
Well,
a
yeah.
bean
And
and
I was going to
cheese
say, like,
burrito.
even if you get away from typical breakfast food and go to a leftover, I mean, there's nobody telling you that you have to eat breakfast food for breakfast,
Right.
right? Like if you're not a breakfast person and you're like, I'm not like I prefer lunch options and dinner options, then just eat them for breakfast. If like,
Well, I just like carbs. So,
well,
yeah, and I know
right,
I need to balance that. So, all right. Well,
right.
I'll try the egg again. I mean, I have done it. I have baked like a baked egg dish and had it, and maybe I just need to do like two options and have some frozen ones ready to grab and go. Like do a bulk day one time a month and freeze some options for myself.
Yeah, yeah. Because then, I mean, you know, you probably have like 8 portions, right? So if you do
Mhm.
two of them, that's 16 portions. That's like 16 breakfasts. You almost made the whole work month. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like minus a couple. Um, yeah, and even like breakfast burritos are great. Like if you feel like you need a little bit of like a carb component, to feel like satiated or whatever, that's okay. Get the best breakfast tortilla, you can get with that has some added fiber and some added protein, like a carb balance or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, and use that and do meat and some vegetables and some cheese and call it good.
Okay.
Yeah. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa, any thoughts?
No, that was sounding good. I'm not, I've never been a big breakfast eater. If you said, "Oh, you can never have breakfast again," I would be okay.
Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
so having to eat, so trying to make sure that I have something, around breakfast time, so I'm liking the Greek yogurt with the berries and
Hmm.
the Zen basil seeds.
Hmm.
And it's like I look at that and I'm like, you think, "Oh, this is never going to keep me full," but it really lasts. And I think it's those Zen basil seeds and the Greek yogurt and and the berries too. It's just a combination. I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, it's the protein and the fiber. So it's
Yeah,
high protein, high fiber. It's going to keep you satiated.
right.
Hmm. Yeah. Great. Yeah. And like, don't, some people love breakfast. Some people don't like it. Like it doesn't just eats. You love breakfast or hate breakfast?
Ca-
I
There you go.
love breakfast. I could eat breakfast every single meal, every meal.
Me
Eggs.
too.
Speaking of cottage cheese in frittatas, I make an egg casserole that uses cottage cheese instead of bread.
Mm.
I made it this morning as my brother came in from Alabama today, and he's like, I need this recipe because he
We
hates
need this
them.
recipe.
I will share this recipe with you guys. It is phenomenal. It's cheesy wonderfulness and sausage. How do you go wrong? Cheese and sausage, man.
Yep, can't go wrong. Well, I'm a huge breakfast fan too, and so much so that I had a brunch for my wedding. That's how much I love breakfast. Yeah. Yeah. I was all about it. It was great.
Oh, and I'm liking the Skinny Taste recipes and
Oh,
Ambitious Kitchen, both of those.
Mhm.
I think it was the Skinny Taste chicken quesadillas that we had a couple of nights ago, and it mixes like the regular like the Mexican blend shredded cheese with cottage cheese as in that filling, and that was really good because it all melted, and we used the low carb tortillas and all of that, and so it's just really good.
Yeah, that's
you
awesome. Yeah,
mentioned
both.
Skinny Taste. What was the other one, Lisa?
Ambitious Kitchen was the other one that Cami recommended.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both really, really great recipe sites.
The Ambitious Kitchen one, my favorite one so far has been um, Greek chicken kebabs. And
Ooh.
so I
Is
thought of you,
that-
Cheryl. I thought, oh, this is probably right up Cheryl's alley. And you marinate the chicken. And the first couple of times I did it, I actually, did it with kebabs, with the little skewers and but baked them in the oven. And then after that, I was like, I don't think I have to do this. I'm just going to make this a sheet pan dinner. And so that's what I've done the last few times we've had it, and it's a favorite. It's like, okay, we're going to have that this week. So, so right now it's about a weekly thing, which I'm sure will, spread out. But I just put whatever veggies, think of like a kebab thing. So I usually have peppers and onions and squash and zucchini and tomatoes, mushrooms, that kind of thing, down both sides of the big pan. And then I put the marinated chicken down the middle.
Mm.
And you just, and it's really good.
Do you have tzatziki sauce on the side?
She recommended making that, and we've done that a couple of times. Not every time, but yeah, but it's good. I really something about that marinade sauce. It has Dijon mustard in it
Mhm.
and olive oil, of course, and some things and like normal, other stuff too, garlic
Mm.
powder and things. But I think it's like the Dijon mustard that kind of gives it a little bit of a wang, to it, and it's
Mhm.
just good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, my daughter's FaceTiming me. I had to decline that. Sorry if you heard that in the background. That sounds really, really good. Yeah, Ambitious Kitchen and Skinny Taste both have really, really great recipes. They're really good resources for that. That's awesome. Okay, Julie, hi. How
Hello.
I didn't share. I just said you'd be here later. So if you would like to,
We made it. I made it. We had a hospice meeting this afternoon. Yeah.
how did it
Dad,
go?
well, we're trying to figure out how to talk to Dad about it because he's still with it enough that he has to sign his own paperwork.
Mm,
So we're trying to come up with the positives and the misnomers of what a hospice is.
yeah.
So I really think he's going to go for the additional attention that they're going to be able to address the aches and pains that he has right then. He's had for 3 days, he's had a stomach ache, and it's like they can't figure out what's going on. And then they decided through all the craziness, he ended up having very, very loose stools. And so they prescribed and gave him Imodium. And I just wanted to scream because now he's bound up again. So I can't wait until we have another advocate in our court to make sure that he's being taken care of. Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
So hard. So
Yeah.
hard. But hospice is so much better equipped at addressing symptoms early on and making
Yes.
him or the person comfortable. And if there's not much in the way of treatment available, it is a really good way to go. And I will tell you, because I was a hospice case manager for a while, I don't know if I shared that with you guys or whatever, but what I really loved about hospice was how it's like Medicare done well. You get so many, like I feel like it's the way healthcare should be, because you get all of these resources, like all of his medications will be provided and delivered to the home. So you don't have to go to the pharmacy and get them filled. If he needs a medical equipment, it's not
Yeah.
like, so if I had a typical home care patient who I said, hey, they need a specific mattress or bed because they're getting a bed sore or something like that. If they were not hospice, I would have to prove that they were eligible and get like pre-authorization through their insurance. Hospice, you can just call up and be like, I need this bed delivered, and it comes. This person needs oxygen, it comes. You don't have to prove that they have a need for it. So it just made the caregiving so much better for the patient and the family. There wasn't all this waiting, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. So I think I kind of saddled my brother and mom to go and talk to him, and I came here to have this meeting instead. I said, not that I'm going to run out or anything, but bye. See ya. I've been dealing with all this rough stuff for months. I said, yep, brother,
It's on you. Your
it's
turn.
up to
Tag,
you.
you're
Take
it.
it on. Woo. Yeah. So I'm sure I'll
And
get an
is your mom
earful.
on board?
She is, and I think she was kind of waffling, and he has had, for the past 4 days, he has had really, really awful days, and today has been a really bad day. And I think this is what she needed, though, because when he finally got comfortable and went to sleep, she said, we have to do this, we have to find some way so that he can be comfortable.
Mhm.
So, and they're trying to offer that, well, we could get him home and we could take care of him at home. And I looked at the caseworker and I said, no, we can't, because mom can't do that. We can't do that. And I'm not prepared to move here to take care of dad for an unknown amount of time. And I said, no, we have to do this at the care center. And
Mhm.
who knows, this might be just what he needs, and he'll be able to get up out of bed. And you just don't know. You just don't
And
know.
people go on and off hospice all the time.
Yep.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they can figure something out, whether it's some of the new medications they've given him in the past month. Something has drug him down so much, and he is so weak. He can't function. He can't do anything. Today, he can't even raise his hand he can't even touch his lips. He cannot lift his arms. So maybe they can figure out that it is a medication or something to give him some sort of relief.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just his time. Maybe it's just his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all hard. You're a good daughter.
Trying really hard.
Yeah.
In
It's
the
like,
meantime, I'm like, I'm the youngest. Remember, I'm here to take the blame. You can lay it on my shoulders. It's fine. I will take all the blame for everything. It's kind of I was the problem child. So something
too.
where
Too.
So if something went wrong, it was always my fault. And I'm like, this is what made me who I am. Even as we've gone into churches that have a lot of issues in the church, I'm like, lay it on me. I will be the scapegoat. I will take this on myself. Because with the military, we pack up and we go again. So I allow you to make me the bad person. It's
Mm.
okay.
Mhm.
And then that helps them grow and blossom and continue. So it's okay. It's part of my personality. I will be your scapegoat.
Why do you
So
feel
did you
you
tell?
need to be your scapegoat on this? Like you've been helping your
Well,
parents
no,
so much.
that's what I've told Darren and Mom. It's like if you need somebody to blame, remember, you can lay it on me. It's okay. It's in my personality. It's fine.
Did you say like if you need to tell dad, like it was Julie's idea?
He would probably have a big smile and say, "Well, of course it was."
So you use that for good, you know?
We
You
use
kind
it
of
for
take
good.
control of it.
We use it, Dad and I both, in any stress situation. Dad and I lean on humor.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the worse the joke is, the better. You know,
Mhm.
we start pulling out the puns. The uglier it gets, the more puns get thrown. So it's just how Dad has equipped me with using humor in really stressful situations. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't get it. But
Yeah.
again, you can blame me. This is just who I am. This is what I bring to the table.
Yeah. So that are they at the care center right now?
They're still at the care center. Dad has a hard time eating.
Mm.
Um, he just can't get the spoon to his mouth. And so if mom's not there, he eats nothing. If she's there, he might get 6 to 8 bites of something and then he's full. He doesn't want anything else. So she's decided she has to stay through his dinner tray and then she can come home.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also rough. I'm sorry. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad I was able to convince my brother to come. He flew in yesterday and he has to fly out again tomorrow. He turned this in as sick leave and he said he can take 3 days without question. After on the fourth day, he has to have a doctor's note. So he's like, I really gotta go back. He has no personal days left.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so he has a special needs daughter, and his personal days get burned up very,
Mhm.
very quickly caring for Jane. And so he uses his sick leave for vacation because really he needs a vacation or else he's going to get sick.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm letting him spend time with dad too, which I think is important.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I'm glad you made it here.
I am too. I needed this. I
Yeah.
needed this for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're taking some time for you, whatever that looks like.
It looks a hot mess, is what it looks like. I'm trying so hard to look at the me time. I got home after the weekend and I thought, okay, I want to set this schedule where I get up in the morning and I have time to stretch or do something and then sit down and watch a few videos because I'm neglecting this. I feel like I have zero time in my life. And yeah, Monday I laid on the couch and watched movies. It was like a complete down day. And then
Mhm.
Tuesday morning, my husband woke me up and said, "Come on, it's time to get going. It's time to get up. You're going to do some stuff today." And then the phone rang, and mom said, "It's a bad day and you need to come back."
Mm.
So I went to the dentist because I've put that off for about 3 months. So
Mhm.
I said, I will leave as soon as I leave the dentist's office, and drove back up, and I'll be here at least until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, just to get through some of this hospice stuff, to
Yeah.
be here for mom. My oldest daughter is flying in this weekend. She really wants to see her papo and to spend time with her papo. So
Mm.
she's coming in on Saturday night by herself, and she'll leave on Monday night to go back to Utah.
Mm.
So
Did you
I
bring a
told mom
craft so that you could at
I
least take a
I
few
brought some
moments?
I brought my sketchbooks. I just need to sit down and have time to do it. I even sat down today. All I took was my phone, and I thought, I am going to watch some videos today just to try to get caught up. And every time I started a video, somebody walked in the door, and I'm like, pause, pause. I think I got through three-minute videos today. How
You
I
did
get
though. I saw that and I was like, huh, I know Julie's not home. What is
Well,
she?
did you
She's watching the
notice?
videos though.
Did you see the videos I was watching though?
The stress ones.
I was in the stress unit.
Uh-huh. I know. I was like, oh, she picked the ones that she needed right now.
I picked the ones that I needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should look at sleep also, but I gave my brother I bought a bed for mom's house because her mattresses are so old. And I gave my brother my bed. And so I am sleeping on a 20-plus-year-old twin mattress that when you lay down on it, no, it's very, it's like there's a board in it,
Oh, it's like,
but it crinkles when you lay down. It's so old. And so I sent a text to my husband this morning. I said, so just so you know, when you look at the credit card, I purchased a mattress today. And it's being shipped. It will be here at the house tomorrow morning between 10 and noon. And he goes, "Why did you buy a mattress?" And I said, "Well, Kaylee is coming this weekend. She has slept on that mattress for years. She won't know the difference." And I said, "No, no, I am replacing this mattress. I have to."
mm-hmm.
It becomes a quality of life thing as we are up here way
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, we're just buying another mattress. It'll be okay. It'll be all right."
Be just fine. Now we can get some sleep. We're gonna need some sleep. This is a stressful time.
Just
We need to
I
get some sleep.
just want to sleep. Last night I laid in here wide awake because I was so uncomfortable. I could not get comfortable on that. And the crunching. I'm
I
How do
know
you sleep with that?
exactly. Can everybody feel what that sounds like?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Feel like we've all had that experience.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah.
always loved when I would go to my grandma's, like the bed was like so old that it was just like you couldn't get out of it. You know, you'd try to wake up in
Yeah.
the morning and be like, "God," like ugh, grab the arm rail to get out of bed, you know, because you're in the deep crevice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Ah, yeah. Well, good for you. Doing what you can. That's where you are right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now Cheryl, you did want to talk through some of the stress management topics, which might actually be helpful for everyone. So why don't we jump into your questions?
So I watched a couple of I watched a handful, probably half of them, and all good stuff. I just wonder, you know, it's hard to apply in the moment that you're feeling stressed to sit there and remember, how am I supposed to breathe again? And what is it? 4, 7, 8? I don't know. What am I supposed to do right now? Right this second. What can I,
Mm.
how do we learn to automatically go to those stress techniques? And maybe it's just the practice you asked us to do. I did
What does
do
everybody else
some.
think? What does everybody else think about that question?
I mean, I know Julie's feeling the stress. Like, how is it hard to, you know, in that moment when you're feeling overwhelmed, like, to remember these breathing techniques, which all good stuff. Like it was all really good information to understand how our bodies are reacting and what we need to trigger. But like, I don't know, when I'm having that fight with my teenage son, I'm I'm not I'm not remembering to breathe. I'm
Mhm.
I'm just yelling.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Well, I
Oh, first,
loved.
I
Oh,
want to throw in the concept of love and logic. If you've never looked at that, if it's the stress with your son, look into love and logic
Okay.
because you give your answer, but a lot of it is they have to come up with their natural consequence. Or it makes them think through, okay, if I let you do this, what do you think the outcome is going to be? If you get into trouble, what do you think the natural consequence is to this? And you can still hand down a consequence of your own. But there's something about love and logic that helps it helps them start to think about the consequence before they just jump into something. They can think through the consequence. And right there, the stress breathing, once you start practicing love and logic, you can so calmly say, what did I say? What did I say?
Yeah, it's all of those. I will look at that. And I have tried to apply some of those things before, but like at the moment, with my mom being sick, stress with, we bought a house for my other kid. There's some things going on there, just work, life, my mom, all of it at once, like I come home and the lawn's not mowed and you're like, I asked 3,000 times, mow the lawn. I don't want to have to tell you again. You know, dinner's not cooked, food needs to be shopped for. Like it just all piling on at once. And I know you know that, Julie, because you've got a lot going on, and Lisa, you got a lot going on with your mom too, as well, and your own health things. But it's just it's stressful. And I at that very second, whether I'm
Need
yelling
an
at the
outlet.
husband, or the dog, or the kids, or any of them,
Mhm.
I
Like
find it hard.
whoever's in the line of fire. Like
Exactly.
I've had it. I'm aggravated. I'm
Yeah.
frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. Nobody's helping me.
Right.
Everybody's going to suffer. Rah! Like that
Right.
kind of energy. I mean, and I'm speaking about this for myself. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Hmm.
can't just be run out. Like, I know that for me, one technique is just go for a walk someplace. Just go hide in a hole. But I can't do that all the time. Like, I can't go into my office, close the door, and just say, I'm going to ignore them all. That
It's
it
not
only works
always.
for.
Yeah. 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 So Lisa, what do you think? I saw that you unmuted. What?
I think that I was going to say the Facebook post that Cheryl made, and I don't think I reacted to it, but I meant to click a love on that because it was like you were feeling overwhelmed, and and it's remembering that you can only do so much. You don't have to do everything. Let's just do what you can. And I think it's giving yourself that kind of grace in the moment can be hard because I think we tend to do that for everybody else. Everybody else gets an out, but for whatever reason, we tend to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I think if we can get to that point where we really go, it's okay. It's okay. If this doesn't get done, it's okay. Take
Mhm.
a minute. And I love the breathing techniques and the meditation and all of that. But when you get overwhelmed, it's like you forget to do those things. You forget you have skills. And what I have found is that the more I do those things, and the more I get in the habit of taking a quiet 10 minutes each morning and just listening to nothing, just being, and that it becomes more second nature. But until you get to there, it feels like, oh, I gotta sit down for 10 minutes and just be still. I don't have time to sit down for 10 minutes and be still, and but you really do. And so it's like giving yourself grace
Mm-hmm. And so, Cheryl, my first question, because I'm going to answer your question, but I just wanted to kind of see where everybody was. I'm not evading. But my first question to you is in that moment, think about that moment when, you got home and the lawn hadn't been mowed and dinner hadn't been, and you'd spent all day helping out at the house, right? You'd been doing all of that and managing. And so you're like, what the actual like why I asked you a million times, why is this not done? How would you, if you could have your like wish, how would that interaction have gone? What would you have preferred happen? Your response, not his, because you can't control him. So
Uh, it could have started with an apology. I'm sorry I didn't get it done.
that's his,
Yeah.
your response.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't control you.
I can't think of a good response.
Well,
I mean, it's something I expected to be done. It's hard for me to understand why. Well, I'll tell you what my actual response would be.
okay.
It'd be me huffing through the house, grabbing my ear sets, and going and mowing the lawn. That would be my response. And being mad the whole entire time while I'm doing it.
And what was your response? Was that the yelling?
No, that was me. I would, thanks for mowing the lawn. I only asked you 4,000 times. Now I'm going to go do it. Great, awesome.
Okay. And so if that
It's not
is
helpful, by the way. I know
right,
that.
if that is the usual response, what would you prefer that you'd be able to do in that situation? Like not freak out on him, not do it yourself. What's the thing?
Well, not freak out for sure, but not feel so angry about it because that just adds to the stress level. But I, I don't know how you accomplish that if the task did not get done.
Right. So you're struggling with feeling like okay, the right response is to not be angry about something.
Yeah, probably be less angry. Maybe that's the better word.
Okay. Did that circumstance, this reminded you all these times, I've been somewhere else helping somebody else all day long, I'm busy, I asked you, reminded you, and you didn't do it. Do you think that his, not, I'm just only picking on this situation because you
Mm,
brought it up. This could refer to a million other things in our
yes.
lives, but do you feel like that circumstance is a situation where you deserve to be angry about it?
Um, yes and no. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably a petty thing to be annoyed about. I guess, I feel like I should have the right to be annoyed because you don't, this is the job that were assigned for this
Mhm.
and you didn't do it. And I I think there's a lot of other things. If I just pick on poor Jacob, I don't mean to pick on him, but like, in the grand
Low
scheme of
hanging
things,
fruit right now,
he
teenage son.
is. But
Like,
like, it plays into other factors like, okay, if you can't do this one task, how are you going to survive your life if you can't follow through on this task? And it just snowballs down this little hill. And so he's probably not a good example to use for this moment. But like,
mhm.
it could be simple things like somebody not putting the dishes away out of the dishwasher. It could be any one of those sort of tasks where, it's at the moment when you get annoyed about it and you're like, I'm not the only person who lives here. Somebody else can pick up the vacuum cleaner and clean up the hairballs falling around the kitchen.
Yeah.
It could be any number of those things, but how do you remember to put those techniques in place and not let it overwhelm?
So here's the hard truth. This is a boundary issue, not a your response to stress issue. Okay. So you're feeling appropriate emotions. Like you're feeling anger, you're feeling frustration, you're feeling like people aren't helping, like you're annoyed because, right? You've got a lot on your plate. And those emotions, I just want to normalize that, like, it is okay to feel that way. I see this a lot in women who are like, I shouldn't be angry because it's an uncomfortable feeling to be like, I'm so angry at my husband, at my son, at my daughter, at my boss, at my right. Like we want to escape uncomfortable emotions because they're uncomfortable, right? And but anger is a normal emotion. Now, the screaming at people, spewing hurtful words, like it's your response to the anger that like is the bigger, can be the problem, not the fact that you're feeling angry about something that is tough, right? You're allowed to be angry if you asked your son to do XYZ and he didn't do it. You're allowed to be annoyed if you've had a busy day at work and you come down and there's a whole sink full of dishes and nobody's helping with anything and you've got now to make dinner and do the dishes and do you see what I mean? Like I'm just making up scenarios that I hear all the time. So your emotions around that are very normal. And so we got to separate it out. What it sounds like is happening is that there's maybe boundary conversations that need to happen so that you can feel more supported instead of just, I'm angry or I'm annoyed and I'm just going to take it all. I'm going to do it all myself. And I'm just going to like stuff my emotions or make it go away.
Oh no, that's very accurate.
Okay. All right. I hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
in our family, it's known as a McCrayism. Just get out of our way and we'll do it ourselves. I'm McCray, so that's how
Yeah.
our family works. Get out of the
So,
way. I'll just do it myself.
so how's that working for you?
It doesn't work well. It ends with stress and all the yeah. And I just say, get out of my way and I'll just go do it myself.
So it's like, I'm going to do it myself. And then
Yes,
I'm still going to be really pissed about it. And
exactly.
it's going to add to my stress. And then I'm going to try all these tools to decrease my stress. But I still haven't taken care of the thing that's really the underlying cause.
Exactly correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So I could give you stress management tools all day long, right? And they're highly effective and they're really helpful, but also there probably needs to be some better boundaries. And some of that, boundaries are different for everyone. Like my boundaries with my husband, my boundaries with my kids, very different than like what you may need in your life. So a boundary is the distance at which I can love you and love myself at the same time. Okay. And I will tell you that the number one thing that is like a red flag, a like alarm bell going off, if you start to feel resentful in a relationship, that means a boundary has been crossed. So you putting on your headphones and going out to mow the grass, that's resent, right? That's resent. That like, going downstairs after a busy day and having to cook dinner and like banging the pots and pans around, I'll make you dinner and I'm just nobody help down here and look at all those fur balls, I'm just like that's resent. Right. And so that to me is like a big like, oh, there's a boundary that needs to be addressed here because I'm feeling taken advantage of in this relationship.
I might have to go back and read my boundaries book. Clearly, I forgot all the notes from that book.
Yeah. And there's a boundary module also in the curriculum. And it's a practice, right? It's a practice. And look, you have a teenage son. Like teenagers are teenagers. And so it's not about making him the perfect, it's not about him. It's about you having boundaries to say, hey, Jacob, I asked you to do these things. I'm angry that you didn't do them. And it's okay that I'm angry. It's not okay that you didn't do these things. And so now I'm going to need you to go do it right this second. Right? Like it's acknowledging that like your emotions are valid in that situation. It's not, I need to be less stressed out when my kid's not doing what I asked him to do and was very clear about. Right? And then as far as the stress is concerned, so boundaries, but then there's also stuff that happens that causes more stress, right? You can't control what's going on with your mom, right? You can't control maybe the issues at the house that's going on that you've got to have to step up and do or whatever, right? So in those moments, Lisa was exactly correct. It's about practice. The only way for something to become automatic, that's what you said, like how can you like automatically slip into some of those tools is through practice. Now, what might be helpful, and I just keep thinking about rocks because I know you love rocks, and I dropped off rocks at her house from Lake Ontario. I cannot wait to see them. Can't wait. But I just finished a book, and this is like a technique that the guy in the book used, and I was like, oh, that's really, really smart. I've done it with other things, but he used a rock from a river. And he used it. It was like his hope rock. And he like left it in he was having a really hard time. He was in jail. Okay. So, you're not incarcerated, but under a lot of stress, trying to keep himself sane, really like keep his mind from wandering too much and, having out of control emotions. And so he used the rock in his pocket as like a tactile reminder. And he would just like rub that. So it's those types of things. Like what would make sense for you? Yeah. Right? What would make sense for you to use that would be like a kind of a quick reminder? And it may not be breathing, right? It may not, at first, it may not be a breathing technique. It may be.
I might just have to put a rock in my pocket. I actually do give that out as a stress. I give that out to a lot of people. When my rocks are tumbled, I take around a bag with me pretty much to all my meetings and so forth, and I give people what I'll call stress rocks. So I try to make sure I have a nice variety of flat-ish, rocks that kind of feel good in your fingers, and you can just put it. And my boss actually says he keeps it in his pocket when he's doing presentations, and just kind of feels it with his finger. So maybe I need to start doing that myself.
Yeah, I mean, considering you love rocks, right? Considering a tactile reminder might be really helpful for you to kind of get you out of that moment because it really starts with awareness. Like, I'm escalating, like my emotions are escalating. I'm feeling the overwhelm build up. And then, but you've got to be aware enough of that to be like, I want to engage my brain again, right? I want to engage my brain. So like a tactile reminder can be helpful. A mantra can be helpful. Like I will often use a mantra, especially if like I wake up in the middle of the night, I tend to catastrophize. Like if I wake up, then I'm like, oh, everything's going to go wrong everywhere in the entire world. Like I can make up stories. And so I'll use a mantra. Sometimes it's a Bible verse. Sometimes it's just like, I'm choosing hope. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing gratitude, like whatever kind of speaks to me. I've used multiple things over time, but with practice, then it's going to be that awareness is going to come faster and the use of the tools are going to come faster.
Okay.
If I'm in a situation where it's like count to 10 before you say something, I usually don't count because I can get to 10 way too fast. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You are the problem.
And so I say the names of the 7 dwarves in my head. And I usually get stuck on one. I can get to 6 and not the 7th one. It's a different one that I can't remember. So I have to go back and did I say that one? So it takes a little more time than like counting to 10.
Yeah, it's like a brain game, right? Same thing with did I show you guys this one? that I like to use sometimes. Okay. All right. So this is one somebody showed it to me a few months back, and I kind of think it's fun and interesting. Because sometimes for me, breathing doesn't always work. It actually makes my anxiety worse sometimes because I'm like, breathe. And like, and I get like in that kind of like, aggressive breathe. It's like not helpful. So I've learned for myself sometimes I need to try something different. And so just start rubbing your thumb and your pointer finger together. Now, as you rub it together, try to feel your fingerprints on both fingers. Can you feel them?
No.
Keep going. Who
Maybe I
can
don't have fingerprints.
fingerprints? Can anybody feel them? Okay, now it doesn't matter if you felt them. It mattered that you distracted yourself. So that's like a pattern interrupt, right? Same idea as like the counting, naming the seven dwarves. Same idea of like any other, right? It's a distraction because when you are escalating, when the stress is becoming overwhelming, right? Or the anxiety is rising, we often just need something to kind of break that train of thought. Right. And so it's just intentionally you're distracting yourself. You're concentrating on something else. That can be really, really powerful. Okay. So Cheryl, was that helpful? Kind of a mix of boundaries and then practicing with the tools.
Yeah, I'll get practicing. Boundaries are hard to set sometimes, but it is something I need to really look at.
Well, and I would, when we're looking, you don't have to fix, nor can you. You can't fix every boundary all at once, right? But like, in what relationship, like, and with whom would a good boundary conversation be helpful just to take the pressure off a little bit for you?
All of them. But that can't happen. I know, I get that.
Yeah. But it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is all going on with my mom. And so I need to have a conversation maybe with my husband to like pick up some slack over here because I'm reaching my limit. And like maybe Jacob isn't like the first string that's going to be like willing to like get in there. You know what I mean? But maybe your husband will, right? Or your daughter. I don't know. Your dog. Have a conversation with the dogs first.
I'll talk to the dogs. Yep.
Talk to the
They'll be
dogs.
really helpful.
Yeah, they'll be great. They'll just lick your face and be like, "But I love you, Mom." Yeah. Um, but yeah, and also sometimes it's a internal boundary that we set, right? So it may also be about you not, what was it, McCrae?
Yeah,
McCrane?
no, McCrae.
McCrae. But I'm not going to McCrae it. Like I'm not going to do it myself. If that thing that I asked so and so to do isn't done, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but I will try.
Because here's the thing with boundaries. Boundaries are hard to set. They're also really hard to maintain. Right? So if you say, "Hey, when I tell you to do something, I expect you to do it. I'm going to hold you to it." And then the first time you do, the second time you kind of do, the third time you McCray it because you're annoyed you didn't do it, they're just going to wait you out because they know you're not going to hold that boundary.
Julie, what would the love and logic tell you to do in that situation? Just out of curiosity.
What is the consequence? So if he didn't do his job, what is the consequence of that job not getting done? So
Well,
what is
the lawn looks like crap.
but what is he going to miss because he didn't
Oh,
do it? There has to be a consequence to this because
Yeah.
ultimately, if you don't mow your lawn, your city is going to come put one of those lovely sticky notes on your door along with a fine, and you know those sticky notes don't come off. So that's what
Mm,
happens in our town. And so there's a consequence, there's a fine that comes with it because you are expected to maintain this. And so you have a job to do. You're a part of this community. This is what needs to be done.
mhm.
So what becomes the natural consequence of that? Is there something that he wants to do that is part of his normal life? And maybe that's when, well, guess what? That's when it's on my calendar. You need to mow the lawn when you were supposed to go to this pool party with your friends. That is now on my calendar to watch you mow the lawn because I have to obviously watch you do this. So logically, this is when I have available time on my calendar.
So this could be a whole day's worth conversation. So we'll
And
just,
that's where you
well,
practice breathing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah, but so we did Love and Logic. Dan, my husband read it when our kids were little, and so we did
Mhm.
it a lot when they were younger. Another thing that might be helpful is asking Jacob what his punishment or right,
Or even what is his solution?
yeah,
Yeah, that'd probably be a better discussion because there's very few consequences I could put in place. He doesn't drive. He
Mhm.
hardly has any friends.
Yeah.
He's got a cell phone and a TV. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to work with here, folks.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
very social.
I would ask him what his solution would be. Maybe it's the timing. Maybe he just, I don't know what else he has to do, but maybe it's just in timing that he didn't want to do it then.
Mhm.
Okay, so when do you want to do it?
Yeah. And also that this is not optional. Like you're not
Right.
getting out of it by me McCrane it anymore.
Mhm.
Because he's on to you, sister. He's
Oh
like,
yeah, I know he is.
if
Yes.
I don't do it, my mom's going to do it. Nobody, ladies, nobody in our lives is going to ask us to change our boundaries with them because lack of boundaries benefits everybody around us. That's the truth, no matter how much they love you. No matter how much they love you. Now, they may, like your husband, your spouse, may be like, you need to have better boundaries with that person or that person or that person because they're taking advantage of you. You know what I mean? But they're not going to be like, you need to have more boundaries with me because, right? We just don't do that. Humans don't do that. So Jacob's never going to come to you and be like, Mom, I know that if I don't mow the lawn, I know you'll end up doing it. I just don't do it because you're going to end up doing it because that benefits him. Right. And so the conversation could then go to, I'm not going to do it. This is your responsibility. So what's your solution? Right? Is it like Julie said, we're going to put it on the calendar and I'm going to sit and watch you do it? Because you're not showing me that you can't do it without supervision. Right? I mean, that may be enough for him to be like, that was awful. My mom sat and watched me mow the grass. Like that was.
Oh, I know what we could do. We could invite his girlfriend and say, I'm sorry, if you want to hang out with her, she will come watch you mow the lawn first, and then you can hang out.
100%.
Maria, come up and watch him mow the lawn, and then he can hang out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Or you can't hang out with her until you mow the lawn. If you
Oh,
wait,
I've definitely done that.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to
but
wait
you
until
know,
next week, whatever.
but
Like, I don't,
even the natural consequence, what happens if you don't mow the lawn? How many times is it going to take? How long will it take you to cut it? How many times do you have to cut it to get through everything? Then you have to rake it. I don't know how you do yard waste. where you're at. Ours has to be bagged. Oh yeah, you have to pay for the tickets to actually take it to dump it in the yard. So if you just go out and cut it when you're supposed to, when it's just a little bit longer and you naturally mulch it in, the work is so much easier. Whereas if you don't do it, this is how many hours. But sometimes you have to follow through with that consequence, and they start seeing, oh my gosh, I have to mow it 3 different ways just to be able to get it cut down, because otherwise it lays down like hay, you
Mhm.
know? So sometimes there has to be that natural consequence for them to learn, gosh, if I would have just cut this in the first place, it would have gone so much faster.
I think I'm going to
Practice what do
download
you
the
get?
Calm app and just sit there in the corner and use the Calm app and call it a day.
Because boundaries are harder.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But
I'll
when you
just
set,
squirrel up in the corner and use the Calm app.
but when you set boundaries, you also get your life back.
He's learning a skill. Don't forget there's the teaching aspect of this too. So you're doing your job as a mom because you're teaching him this skill that you can't just put it off. Well, you can,
But
but
there's
there's
consequences to that.
there's a natural consequence to it.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
real life consequences, right? Like his boss is not going to cry it for him.
Yeah.
That's what I always think. Like when I'm holding a tough boundary with my kids and like they're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable. It would just be easier if I did it myself. You know, it feels like, you know, when your toddlers were little and they like wanted to practice putting on their shoes and you're like twitching, like, could you just throw your shoes on and like we'd be in the car already and we're going to be late to our appointment. I would always remind myself, like, I don't want to be putting their shoes on when they're 20. Like, I need to let them figure this out, even if it like takes so long. I still have to remind myself of that sometimes, like those painful lessons, those like difficult. I know you've been a mom a long time, right? Like, but like that effort now will serve them well later because their college professor or their boss is not going to care if they didn't feel like turning that project in.
I think the difference between now and my other kids, and I'll just call it as it is. I think, you know, the perimenopause aspect has, you know, made me a little grumpier, a
Mhm.
little snappier. I don't want to
Mhm.
put up with the shit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, and I don't know if you've ever had that conversation with Jacob. Like, I mean, I know that I have had to say to my kids sometimes, hey, I'm changing. My body's changing. I mean, we talk about menopause all the time because I'm a menopause coach. Like, they know what I do, but like being honest about like, I have less tolerance for your bullshit. That's what I tell them. I'm like, so we can either be like copacetic in this house or like we can also be like this. And I'd prefer us not to be like this all the time, but just know like I'm a little bit more apt to this
Yeah.
scenario right now. So, you know, like tread lightly. I would like us, right? I've had those conversations sometimes with them to just be like, I'm having my own struggles here, people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, the dogs need to go outside.
Nope,
They're
you're good. Was
they're
that helpful? I know we kind of went off.
yes.
I hope it was good. I know you're an
Yeah.
experienced mom too. I don't want you to feel like this
No.
is encouragement, helpful, boundaries and stress management. They go to hand in
Yes.
hand. Okay. All right. I will see you guys next week. Have a good
All
week.
right.
Julie, keep us posted. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be
Well,
praying for all of you.
All right.
yeah,
All right.
thank you so much.
Welcome.
All
Glad
right.
you jumped on. All right. Bye.
Bye.